Welcome listener to our channel of storytelling and audiobooks. If you enjoy our stories, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. The Light Within, the inspiring story of Albert Einstein. In a small town nestled in the German Empire, Ulm, to be exact, on March 14, 1879, a boy was born who would one day challenge the very fabric of space and time. But when Albert Einstein first opened his eyes to the world, no one could have imagined the monumental legacy he would leave behind. Not his parents. Not his teachers. Perhaps not even Albert himself. He wasn't a child prodigy in the traditional sense. In fact, for much of his early life, Albert was anything but extraordinary. He was slow to speak. He spoke so slowly that his parents feared something was wrong with him. His teachers labeled him as lazy and dreamy. One even said he would never amount to much. But here's where the spark begins. Chapter 1, The Silent Wonder. Albert may have been quiet, but behind those pensive eyes was a storm of curiosity. By the age of 5, something happened that would forever shift his view of the universe, a simple compass. He was fascinated by how the needle always pointed north. It seemed to obey an invisible force, and that invisible force captivated him. To Albert, it wasn't magic, it was mystery. And mystery was the language of the universe. As he grew, his mind began to orbit questions far beyond his age. Why does light behave the way it does? What is time? What lies at the very edge of reality? Despite his brilliance, Albert found himself at odds with the rigid German school system. He hated rote learning and despised being told to memorize without understanding. He dropped out at 15, left Germany, and eventually enrolled in the Swiss Federal Polytechnic School in Zurich. It wasn't easy. He failed the entrance exam the first time, excelling in math and physics but struggling with languages and other subjects. Still, he didn't give up. And that tenacity would become a theme for the rest of his life. Chapter 2, The Patent Clerk with a Universe in His Mind. After graduation, Albert couldn't find a teaching job. He ended up working as a lowly clerk at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. Day after day, he evaluated technical documents, watching machines spin and inventions churn, but all the while, his imagination spun even faster. In the quiet hours of that office, something magical happened. Known today as Einstein's Annus Mirabilis, or Miracle Year. In just 1 year, he published 4 revolutionary papers. Each one was enough to make any scientist's career, but together, they transformed modern physics. One explained the photoelectric effect, which would win him the Nobel Prize. Another described Brownian motion, confirming the existence of atoms. A third introduced the special theory of relativity. And the fourth gave us the most famous equation in the world. E equals mc squared. He wasn't a professor. He had no lab. No prestige. Just a pen, a mind on fire, and the courage to chase the unknown. Chapter 3, The World Awakens. Soon, the world could no longer ignore him. Einstein's theories sent shockwaves through the scientific community. By 1915, he had expanded special relativity into something grander, the general theory of relativity, a reimagining of gravity not as a force, but as the warping of spacetime itself. A radical idea, one that wouldn't be proven until 1919, when British astronomer Sir Arthur Eddington observed a solar eclipse and saw light bending around the sun, exactly as Einstein predicted. Overnight, Albert Einstein became a global icon. Not just a scientist, but a symbol of genius. Newspapers around the world declared, "Light bends, Einstein triumphs." But fame never changed him. While others chased accolades, he remained guided by wonder. He once said, "I have no special talents. I am only passionately curious." Chapter 4, A Voice for Peace. As the world slid into chaos during the rise of fascism in Europe, Einstein, Jewish by birth, became an outspoken critic of tyranny and war. In 1933, when Hitler came to power, Einstein fled Germany, eventually settling in the United States. He would never return to his homeland. He spoke out against the Nazi regime, advocated for civil rights in America, and warned about the dangers of nationalism. Though a pacifist at heart, he reluctantly signed a letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, urging the US to explore atomic weapons, fearing Nazi Germany might develop them first. After the war, he expressed deep regret about the bomb's creation and spent the rest of his life advocating for peace and nuclear disarmament. He said, "The unleashed power of the atom has changed everything except our ways of thinking." Chapter 5, The Final Equation. Even in his final years, Einstein remained a seeker. He wore rumpled clothes, played the violin, and scribbled equations in search of a unified field theory, a way to tie together the forces of the universe. He never found it. But that didn't trouble him. What mattered was the journey, the pursuit of truth, the music of the cosmos. On April 18, 1955, Albert Einstein passed away at the age of 76. His brain, controversially preserved for study, has been analyzed countless times, but the true magic of Einstein was never in his biology, it was in the boundless curiosity of his soul. He showed the world that you don't need permission to ask big questions. That wonder can defy expectation. That light bends. That time stretches. That a quiet boy with wild thoughts can change everything. So if you're ever told you're too slow, too dreamy, too different, remember Albert Einstein. He didn't just study the stars. He became one. Thank you for listening to the story of Albert Einstein, one of the greatest minds in human history. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more inspiring lives and epic tales. Until next time, keep wondering.